Have you ever walked through a park, spotted a deer in the distance, and watched it bolt the second it noticed you? Or tried to get close to a bird, a rabbit, even a squirrel, and it just vanished? You weren't carrying a weapon. You weren't making any threatening moves. You were just there. So why did it run? Here's the part that will genuinely stop you in your tracks. Animals don't run from you because you're scary looking. They run because somewhere deep in their biological memory, buried across hundreds of thousands of years of survival your species, is the most dangerous thing that has ever walked this planet. And the reason why is one of the wildest, most jaw-dropping stories in all of human history. Stay till the end, because the last part will completely change how you think about what ancient humans really were, and what we actually did to this planet. Let's set the scene. You're a large animal. A wildebeest, a zebra, maybe even a massive woolly mammoth. For millions of years, your ancestors learned which predators to fear. Lions, wolves, eagles, big, fast, powerful things with claws and teeth and raw physical strength. You developed instincts around those threats. You knew what they looked like. You knew how they moved. You learned when to run and when you were safe. And then something new appeared on the landscape. Something that walked upright on two legs. Something smaller than a lion. Slower than a wolf, with no natural weapons built into its body. No claws, no fangs, nothing that should have made it terrifying. And yet, every animal that encountered this new creature and didn't run eventually disappeared. The ones that survived were the ones that learned one simple rule. If you see a human, you run. And you run now. This is today's story. Not just why animals flee from us, but how ancient humans became so devastatingly effective at hunting that they basically trained the entire animal kingdom to be afraid of us. And how that fear got locked into animal DNA so deeply that even today, in a world where most of us haven't hunted anything in our lives, wild animals still treat us like the apex predator we used to be. Let's go back, way back, to a time when early humans were spreading out across the planet for the first time, moving into new lands, crossing into territories where the animals had never seen a human before. And here's the wild part: those animals had no fear of us at all. When early humans first arrived on new continents, the animals there didn't run. Why would they? They had no memory of us. No instinct programmed into them saying, this two-legged creature is dangerous. They just stood there, watching, curious, completely unbothered. And that's exactly when the hunting began. Ancient humans were not the biggest predators, but they were the smartest. And they used intelligence in ways that changed everything. They hunted in coordinated groups. They could plan ahead. They used fire to drive animals off cliffs. They made weapons that could kill from a distance: spears, atlatls, throwing tools that let them strike without ever getting close enough to get kicked, gored, or trampled. They could chase prey for hours. Not because they were fast, they weren't, but because humans are built for endurance in a way almost no other animal is. 2 legs, sweat glands that cool the body, an upright posture that conserves energy over long distances. Ancient humans could outlast prey, chase a deer until it collapsed from exhaustion, follow a wounded animal for days if they had to, and they communicated. They could coordinate. One group drives from the left, another cuts off the escape route on the right. Animals had never faced anything like this before. No instinct prepared them for a predator that could think, plan, and work as a team. The result was catastrophic. Scientists have found evidence across multiple continents that when ancient humans arrived in a new region, massive waves of large animals disappeared shortly after. Woolly mammoths, giant sloths, cave bears, enormous flightless birds, dozens of species that had survived ice ages, volcanic eruptions, and every natural disaster the planet could throw at them gone, within a few thousand years of humans showing up. And the animals that survived, the ones that are still here today, they were the ones that figured it out fast. Run from the humans. Not because they were told to, not because their parents sat them down and explained the danger, but through the most brutal classroom in existence: natural selection. The individuals who were less afraid of humans got hunted. They didn't survive to have offspring. The ones that were more nervous, more alert, more likely to bolt at the first sign of a human, those were the ones that lived. Those were the ones that passed their instincts on, generation after generation. Thousands of years of selection pressure, until fear of humans became as hardwired as fear of fire. Now here's where it gets truly fascinating. This fear didn't just affect animals that lived alongside ancient humans, it spread. It got encoded into species across the world because humans kept moving, kept arriving in new places, kept being devastating wherever they showed up. And the depth of that fear is remarkable. Scientists have studied animals in places that have been protected from hunting for generations: national parks, wildlife reserves, islands with no human predation for hundreds of years. And you know what they found? The animals are still afraid of us. Play a recording of a human voice in a wildlife reserve, and animals scatter. Lions move away. Elephants retreat. Prey animals freeze and then flee. In studies comparing the sounds of human voices to the sounds of actual predators, lions, leopards, wild dogs, animals reacted with more fear to human voices than to any other predator on the planet. More afraid of a human talking than of a lion roaring. Let that land for a second. Somewhere in the biology of almost every large wild animal alive today, there is an alarm system that fires when it detects a human. That alarm was installed by our ancestors. Through tens of thousands of years of being the most effective, most relentless, most unpredictable predator the natural world had ever seen. We didn't just hunt animals. We reshaped their behavior. We rewrote their instincts. We became a permanent feature of their fear response, not because we are physically dangerous in the way a lion is, but because we are something far more dangerous than physical strength. We are dangerous because we think. And animals, somewhere in the ancient part of their nervous systems, seem to know it. So the next time a deer bolts when you step out of your car, or a flock of birds lifts off the moment you get too close, or even a city pigeon does that shuffling away thing when you walk toward it, remember what you're actually looking at. You're not looking at a nervous animal. You're looking at a survivor, a descendant of every animal that was smart enough, fast enough, alert enough to treat your ancestors with the respect they absolutely deserved. That squirrel darting up a tree when you walk past, its great-great-great ancestors lived because they ran from humans like yours. That fear, as old as the first human footstep in new territory, has never stopped. Because the lesson was learned so completely, so painfully, so permanently, that it became part of what those animals are. And what that fear reflects back at us is something worth sitting with. We didn't just survive the ancient world, we dominated it. So completely that the entire animal kingdom reorganized its behavior around us. The most dangerous thing in any wild landscape was never the lion, never the wolf. It was always the two-legged creature who thought before it acted. It was always us.